past has already happened and it's gone. It took place already. Where we are right now is in this moment. And so if you can bring your full self to that present moment, you'll create more opportunities for you. It's like the person that sits there and they're in a conversation and they're actually waiting to actually say something. They're really not listening to you because they're so anxious to want to say something. They're missing the whole opportunity. Someone could have just said something great to them that could have just changed their life, or maybe it's an opportunity they could take off with, but because they were so focused on what they wanted to say and they were in the future, I call it future thought, they were in future thought, they missed what was actually happening right there in the present. And so when you can get to that space of being more in the present, I think it enables you to prove your potential better. And I think it enables you to design a life that prioritizes your passions better.
It's very Buddhist, right? Being in the now, not being attached.
And it's scary, man. Dude, I'm like, yo, sometimes I question that shit. I'm like, yo, should I really be should I really be sitting still right now?
Yeah, but there's two things that I want to comment on that, which I think is, I'll just say it. One, you mentioned sports earlier, and I'm a huge fan of Russell Wilson. He's the quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, which are my team.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's also a stellar human being. He talks a lot about this neutral thinking. And what I have heard, and I would like to hear from you, is so much judgment out there. Judgment of self, relative to the expectations that we had, versus if you can have a preference for this desired outcome, but be good with whatever happens.
Yeah.
And so even when, he talks about throwing the interception on the 1 yard line with a minute to go in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And of course, devastating. And yet, the first thing he did was, the next day just went back to practice. And this neutral non-judgment is, I find it in a culture that compares itself, in a culture where our media is hoarding attention, necessarily isn't always meritorious.
Right.
And yet we're using that as a lens through which we see ourselves and see others.
Beautiful.
How do you manage to be kind to yourself? How do you manage to resist judgment, especially self-judgment?
Huge points you're making there, especially around the merit and where attention is going and what can yield that attention and what can influence it. Judgment is it's really a negative piece of energy, just in and of itself. Just the idea of judging yourself or the idea of judging someone else is negative energy. So if you're in a place where you're trying to do great work and you're trying to be the best at the best that you want to be at what you're doing, you understand that you're not perfect. And if you can get to the point of not trying to pursue perfection, but pursuing the process in the present, you start to remove the shackles of judgment on yourself. It's difficult, but this is why I also say little things like the 3 wins remind you of your small successes so that you don't get into the trap of judging yourself in a negative way. As it relates to comparing yourself to others, we touched on that a little bit with that social comparison theory. So I'd like people to go and review that and research that and read up on that because it is a natural thing for us to do. It's okay to look at someone. It's not okay to judge someone. It's okay. It's okay to. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, hey, look, if a crowd of people start running, it's okay for you to kind of judge that situation and be like, oh, that doesn't look like it's safe. Let's start running. But to look at, judging a book by its cover is not okay. And that's what we're also finding in this awakening right now through this time, that for too long, people have been judging the book by its cover and haven't been spending enough time wanting to explore beyond judgment, even if it's just superficial, even if it was non-intentional judgment on someone. It's just a bias that's now been conditioned and a prejudice that maybe can evolve from that without you even knowing. So I think this whole idea of judgment is difficult to deal with because how we talk to ourselves is the most important thing that we can work on. And look, I'm going to be straight up. Like, I still struggle, not nowhere near where I was before, but I still struggle with negative thoughts. Like, I have a blog, I had an article that I wrote one time, and I was like, Emmy in one hand, negative thoughts in the other. Like, dude, what? Like, how could you have any negative thoughts? Like, so it's a very natural human condition to go through this and that disbelief that can seep in. Here's the difference. The minute you become more present, the minute your awareness heightens. When your awareness heightens, your radar is up. When your radar is up, you can catch these things happening to you sooner, which allows you an opportunity to make a decision. Do you want to continue to feed that thought, or are you recognizing it and it's time for what we call a pattern interrupt, something that jolts that moment and stops it from happening, and you do something extreme, or you do something that just gets you out of that particular environment, in that particular mode of energy, to do something different.
Give us a concrete example.
I mean, for me, man, a concrete example is so a concrete example of like a pattern interrupt, like when I'm done. Okay. So one that I'll do is I get to work from home a lot, except for when we're traveling or we're doing productions and things of that nature. So for me, this might not work for everybody, but my ultimate reboot is that I will actually take off my clothes and retake a shower. Like, that is the ultimate pattern interrupt. Now, that is my extreme version. Before that, I've caught it. And I've been paying attention to the triggers. What are the triggers that get me there, right? So I've been paying attention to those triggers. So now I caught it, and so I'll say, all right, it's time for a motivational playlist. Let me play some music right now to get me out of this state. Or I'll say, you know what? I'm taking a break. I'm going to go watch 10 minutes of my favorite comedian on YouTube right now. I don't care what the deadlines are. I don't care what's going on. I'm in such a negative mood. I'm in such a bad energy. I'm going to go watch 10 minutes of my favorite comedian. So these are small ways that I deal with breaking the routine is all you're trying to do. Break that moment is all you're trying to do. So that moment can be that you're having brain lock on a creative idea. That moment could be that you're having disbelief in something that you're trying to do. That moment could be frustration that you're going through because maybe something isn't happening the way you want it to at that time, and you're starting to feel really negative about it. The point is, get yourself to a pattern interrupt, and you can jolt that energy and stop it from taking you deeper into that hole.
So practical, but so true, especially with creative blocks. The energy, I like the connection between energy and what you're really interrupting is a negative thought or a pattern, or ultimately what it boils down to energy. And people are like, well, I don't know, the energy, like, hey, quantum mechanics is pretty clear that all these things, intentions and that stuff matters. Energy matters. The quantum field actually creates the outcomes. It's not the outcomes that affect, or another way of saying it is the quantum field, your energy creates results. It's not that the results create the energy.
Yes, man. Oh, God. People rewind that moment, like that line right there. That, woo.
Chase said quantum mechanics.
No, man, look, dude, no, seriously, on some realness, I was just, look, I had, I'll try to make this a really short story because this is really, like, to your point. I suffer from a thing called gout. And gout is something that is in my DNA. It's not because I have a bad diet or I'm obese or I drink heavily. It's got a combination of different types of foods that when they hit my body, it does a certain thing to the uric acid levels in my body, and then it creates pain in my foot that is like you can't put a bed sheet sometimes on the foot because it hurts that bad to even feel a bed sheet on it. So long story short, I was recently put on some medication because I had a flare up. The medication they put me on it too long. That medication, turns out, after doing research, spiked my blood sugar levels up to a point where, depending on which doctor you ask, I could have either been in a coma or should have had a heart attack because my levels are so damn high. This just happened 3 weeks ago. My doctor calls me and says, get in here right away. We need to put you on insulin. You're diabetic. And I'm like, no, I'm not. What are you talking about? So I get in there, they show me the chart, we see my levels. I'm like, holy crap, yeah, I was having thirst of the mouth. I was starting to see double and just thought my eyesight was just going crazy. All the stuff that affects your eyes and temporary blindness and all this stuff. And I just coughed it up to the fact that I was dealing with this gout flare up, right? I'm drinking 120 ounces of water a day and I'm still thirsty as hell. I'm going to the bathroom like crazy, way more than normal. So all these things are like abnormal. So I go in, she tells me, we're going to put you on this medication and you're going to need insulin to get these levels down really quick to get you safe. I take insulin for like 4 days. During those 4 days, my wife and I came up with a mantra. So this gets to the energy part. My wife and I came up with a mantra, said, number one, we're not accepting the fact that I'm diabetic, because we did the research that showed that the medication that I was put on before this induced me into that state by shutting down pancreas and some other stuff in my body. So we felt that we could reverse the effects. Well, how the hell am I going to do that if I'm not going to be on meds? I have to have the power of intention. I have to have the power of energy, and I have to have the power of belief that this is something that I can actually overcome and do. And then I have to have a plan and really think through the execution on this. All right, let's get the acupuncturist. Check. All right, homeopathic doctor. Let's get that. Check. All right, I'm going to have July 4th is my date. I will be independent of insulin by July 4th. And I'm here to say, I came up with a mantra and I said, I am strong, I am resilient, I am healthy. I repeated that thing 3-4 times a day. And I'm here to say, before July 4th, bro, I took insulin for 4 days, haven't touched it in 3 weeks. I haven't touched a piece of medicine in 3 weeks. I'm in all natural, all just adjusted my diet, realized that my carbs were higher than they should have been, did a couple other things with exercise, and my levels are down to normal. So this isn't the outcome that was supposed to happen this way. This is because the energy and the intention and what you're talking about, that quantum mechanics, me believing that I can do this. Now, if I couldn't do it, I was willing to accept it. But I know that energy is real. If I put it out there, I'm going to give it a shot and try. So I know that's a bit of a longer story to prove that point, but this just happened, dude. I am literally still taking my blood sugar levels every day, 3 times a day, just to check them. And I am amazed that I'm at like right above the normal range every single day.
Congrats, man. I know that like combination of intention and effort and energy, I think that's the bee's knees right there. Is that a JeanMichel Basquiat?
Yeah, brother, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my favorite artist of all time right there. I think I referenced him a few times in my book, and he played a big role.
You dropped Maya Angelou in your book. You got some classics in the book, brother.
What I love about Basquiat, and this is the topic that I want to discuss right now, is this concept of doing it your own way. And part of what used to be written are these scripts that this is, if you want to be on the radio, here's how you have to do this and then do this. And if you're lucky, and if you get to, pull records for somebody or be a research assistant for somebody who's on the radio, then maybe you're going to get in the room. And what I've learned, and I literally learned it in part from JeanMichel Basquiat, which for those of you who don't know, he was a famous artist in New York in the 70s and 80s, and famously sold his first postcards to Andy Warhol for $10, who was someone who arguably, quote, discovered him. But his art was so different than the art that was happening. It was largely graffiti, very non-linear, and he said that, he took art from the streets or for the walls in the museums and heard of. And right now, so many people at home are watching the show, sitting there and thinking, I want to do this thing, whatever this thing is, this dream we have, and yet they're trying to do it the same way that everybody else has done it. This is like full circle moment, because you went back and you opened this with your sort of career arc, your life arc, right? And it was very, as you said, non-linear. And so I'm wondering if you can vouch for this or give some advice to people who are trying to do everything the way that they read about in the magazines and the books, and might be denying what could be the biggest and most important part is their true self. Help us understand that.
It's so beautiful how you put that. It's first and foremost, I would say, people, please stand in your courage. Like, really stand. You know, when in your book, when you talk about that whisper of your intuition, really stand in that intuition. Like, learn to listen to yourself. You know, when you have your gut and some data that backs you up, that's like spot on. Like, do that thing. I would say that, you know, I think that people, you know, man, so many thoughts come to my mind when I think about this. I wonder if try me a little bit of a different way, like.
Sure, I'm gonna restart you. So, if what about you did you lean into in order to create the success for yourself that you created? Thing that people said you were too much of this or not enough of that, and you ignored it, or you could ignore it, but you did it anyway. Like, what do you think? And again, these are things that this is a really common pattern from the world's highest achievers, and I've seen this in your work. But I want to know, what about you was the thing that you figured you could double down on?
And now I know where I was also going with the other point of like that whole scripting. And so let me see if I can answer both of these things at the same time. The scripting part is it's okay for you to look at models. It's okay for you to, and look, my thoughts here, my advice here is not be all end all. Let's be clear about that. But how I approach it is that I look at models and I do study models. But what I'm really looking for and what I was really getting at is the courage for you to stand in your uniqueness. Like, that's the thing that I think you should really be focusing on more than focusing on your competitor or focusing on looking at someone else and how they do it or what their model is. Have you really spent the time to really focus in on your uniqueness? And your uniqueness might be something that scares the hell out of you. Like, how is that going to be something that could be for good?
Yeah, usually we try and hide that, right?
Yes.
We're scared of it. We're ashamed of it.
That's right. We're embarrassed by it, or we've been bullied over it, or, you know, we've been penalized or been thought to be penalized for that thing. So what I would say is, and this is why I say it's courage. What I would say is lean into the thing that you are most afraid to reveal, as try to get to a level of comfort with that as best you can. Lean into that, because that uniqueness is, I think, what my special sauce was. When you say, what did I double down on? I doubled down on what was unique about Mario. For some reason, Mario realized he had an ability to have natural energy that if he means well and wants people to do well, and if he could communicate that natural energy in a way that's focused and can give people systematic processes or steps of action that they can take, and they can actually get results from that. That was where I realized, oh, I can do this differently than how an anchor or a reporter or another segment expert delivers. Oh, I can dress me like. Don't try to conform to what we think we need to conform to because of the other models. And so I would show up on these sets. I remember my first time going on the Today Show. I was so green. It was deer in the headlights. I had a 2-minute segment. And let me tell you, it was more like a minute 45, because let me tell you what they did to me. And it's not what they did to me. It's just how they probably work with new talent. They put you in a segment that's like 5 minutes long, but there's 3 different experts. And so they'll spend like a minute and a half with you, a minute and a half with another, and a minute and a half with another. And it can be under one big category, but each expert has a very specific niche that they're talking about. And so it's their way of like, well, if this one fumbles, like the whole segment's not shot. Like, they can still rebound. And when I was in that deer in the headlights and I went in and I just said, Mario, just be you, man. Like, you've been working all this time. Just be you. Be that fun, energetic, maybe even some people call you over the top. Some people say you have too much energy. Some people say, dial it down a little bit. Some people say, why don't you calm it down? Or, why don't you put on the suit and tie? And I was like, no, I'm going to wear a blazer and t-shirts and jeans and sneakers because that's who I am. I'm going to wear these glasses and I'm going to switch colors and that's who I'm going to be. So when I was able to lean into those things, it really showed me right after that segment hit, literally 3 producers come at me. What else can you talk about? What else can you do? What other stuff besides tech can you do? It was just, it's unbelievable. Like, oh shit, like, oh, I cracked something. Yeah. And all I was really trusting myself to be me and leaning on those things that other people thought I should change about me or conform about me or go to a more prescriptive process about what I was going to do with my delivery.
Yeah, the world wants you to be average, right? Because that's the
Yes.
world. The world's job is to put you in line because it's easier. It knows how to handle you and manage you. And
it's so true,
whether it's
Chase.
School or a job, or your boss wants you to be not too much like this, but a little less like that.
Right.
And what I heard, I think you said it. If you didn't say it, I'm ascribing it to what you said. Is you learn to trust yourself in that moment.
Yeah, and I did. And
for those folks, again, we got chats and comments coming in from all over the place. It's so fun to see the world interacting with.
See what's going on right
conversation. Lauren, thank you for being. You're in the mix there. Lauren Joyce, thank you so much for being so present. Susan says your energy is what kicks it. Thank you, Mila. Mario. Lauren again in the house. Anyway, folks are echoing your sentiment about being yourself. All right. I understand you got a metal lunchbox collection. What's that?
We all have hobbies and interests, man. And one of the things that I think is really important is for us to find fun and to find ways for you to do things. Like I have a sneaker closet. So some people my addiction is sneakers. I just love shoes and I wear them all. They're not sitting in boxes. They're like there. And on the walls, I have like my own handwriting of quotes and inspirational sayings and things like that in that same space is where this lunchbox collection is. And it's got everything in there from, the A-Team to a Scooby-Doo lunchboxes. And I'm talking about, the metal lunchbox with the thermos in that joint. I'm not talking about those plastic ones, Transformers, quite a few good ones in there, man. Some good classics. And it's just, one of the things that I had to learn about myself is that, I love to act young. I love not act young. I love to just be like young, youthful energy. Like I love to play. I love to have fun. I just, and I normally get like dissed. Like, yo, man, why don't you grow up? Like, why are you still acting like that? And all, it's like little subliminal, little subconscious things and things that people can say to you that they may mean well, but it's like these little microaggressions. The same way some of you may be like in your household having a dream and people are telling you, yeah, that's great, but I don't really see how you're going to make that happen because you weren't doing that before. You didn't have that money. You didn't have those skills. You didn't graduate with that type of degree. Like all these things that, yeah, those are true, but that doesn't mean I can't still do this thing. And so I think like, having fun is a part of who I am. And that's what that metal lunchbox collection is all about. And taking that fun and incorporating it into your work and life process is so important to round out who you are. I have found more opportunities and I have found some light bulb moments when I have stepped away to just have fun, as opposed to really trying to kind of like solve this Rubik's Cube in that particular moment. So yeah, man, I love fun. I love my metal lunchbox collection. I love my sneakers, and I love changing eyewear.
Lauren from Facebook says it's called joy, right? Bringing
joy
to the things that we do.
Man, Because it's already so damn hard, Chase. Like, you already know this, man. Like, anybody that's out there with a dream and an idea right now, look, Chase already salutes you. Mario already salutes you. We already know that for you to even have an idea and to take a single step towards it is a big deal. Like, it's a big deal. And we just want to see you continue to just do that and having joy in the process. That's one of the hardest things that my wife and I just talked about in the backyard 3 days ago when we were having this pre-meeting before the company meeting. And one of the things that we said is we constantly are trying to elevate ourselves, and we did better last year. Here's what we did well. So how can we get even better at that? And part of that was, let's figure out how we can have more fun in the journey. We were so destination oriented that it can burn you out when you don't reach the destination the way you would like to. This is why I say remove attachments and all these other things and be more mindful about it. But when you can have more joy in the process, so we now have like written around the house in different spots, like it's just the word fun. Like fun. I have an alarm on my phone 3 times that goes off, not that one, but 3 times it goes off, and it says have fun today. Like, I literally have to remind myself, like, how stupid is that? Like, I have to remind myself 3 times a day to have fun today? Because, man, when you're ambitious people need boundaries. When you see something for yourself and you really believe in it and it's not happening on the timeline that you think it should be happening on, it gets really heavy to you. And so how you can find joy in that process, the 3 wins is a part of finding joy. Having that metal lunchbox collection and having a hobby and a thing that you can do outside of the thing that you're trying to pursue. Like, all of these things together with that clarity and with that mindfulness, all those things together help me be more present and more fun in the journey. You heard what I said earlier when I was like, yo, do we really have to call people now and try to get distribution for our show? Like, this is a really well-produced show. We shoot it in NASDAQ Studios in Times Square. It's multi-camera. It's really great quality production. And we're fighting to try to find a place to get a home for it that's got eyeballs that would also appreciate the same type of content. And that was a real negative energy. And so I said, fun. I said, you know what? What really bothers me is the fact that I have to do the research to go find all the names and the sites and the streaming places and the different websites that maybe could be a distribution play for me. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to farm that part out. I'm going to hire someone that can do that research for me, because really what I want is I just want the names and the email addresses and the phone numbers. And then let me go to town. I'll do the selling. I'll do the pitching. I got the pitch materials. I get excited again. So now I'm in that fun mode. So find those things that are disrupting your fun and making it feel more like a chore. Try your best to outsource those things or barter somebody value for those things, so that you can actually try to do more of the things that are really fun for you to do on your journey.
Yeah, and to your earlier point about like, if you're getting shit from someone, the chances are they're not further along in their journey, because most of the people that I know who are so far along in their entrepreneurial or creator journey or their life journey, those aren't the ones that are talking trash.
Yeah.
Right? You're never going to find someone talking trash who's done more than you. It's always someone less. And it's, this combination that you just shared about mindfulness and fun and clarity, and it's sort of like recapping the arc of our conversation right now. And I think the fact that there's an emphasis on fun, and that it's okay to outsource the things that you're not great at. Like, it seems like you've just articulated a recipe. If I'm bounds here, but is there anything else that's missing from that recipe, if it is a recipe?
Yeah, I like the way you put that. It does feel like a recipe. I've been saying a lot about your book throughout. It's right here, right throughout this conversation, quite a bit. That because I feel like that too has been a recipe. I don't think there's anything missing from that recipe. I think the only thing I would say is, if there's one other thing that people would take away from that recipe, I would say Getting a support system around you is one of the most important. I can't stress how important it is for you to take care of your mental and your physical health and to have a support system around you that supports what it is you're trying to do. And if you have been struggling to get support from people that you love, I'm not talking about support from people that you don't love. There's a very big difference in what I'm saying, because we're addicted to acceptance and we're addicted to validation from others. What I'm talking about is the people that you actually do care about and you actually do love. And it would really be nice if they really supported you in your journey, right? What I would say is to those people that may be suffering from some of that, try to pitch them differently. Instead of saying what it is you're going to do a little thing I tried. I made everything into a slide deck. And I actually sat the family down and treated them like they were a meeting and they were a partner that I was trying to convince as to why you should believe in me. And I had slides that had the who, the what, the why, the when, the how. Each slide, 5 slides, just covering it. Here's who I am. Here's what I've achieved in the past. Here's what I'm trying to do. Here's how I'm going to do it. Here's when I would like to do it by. And here's what I'm going to need in order to try to get there. When you do that, you disarm so many of the other knee-jerk reactions. If your idea is that good, or if you're really that passionate and you really believe in something you want to do, you deserve to present it more than just talking to someone about the idea. They really need to see you present it to them so that they understand what you're fighting for. And then they can make a choice as to whether or not they're going to really support you. And then I would say this. I would say to them, do you love me? And hopefully they'll say yes. You say, do you love me? And when they say yes, then you say, well, then I don't need you to understand what it is I'm doing and thinking and what I see for myself. I just need you to support me in trying to get there. What are they going to say? Well, shit, I wish I would have known that was the answer, because I would have said, I don't love you. Like, what are they going to say? What are they going to say? So, and not you're not going to get every person to get on board with that dream. And that's why it's important for you to find support elsewhere. So let me tell you, man, another quick tip for people, because I feel like we might be closing. So I just wanted to hit a couple quick tips. Hit people on the DM and Instagram. I'm telling you, that still works. Have your pitch clear. Have your ask very succinct and very specific, and it works. I still DM people on IG. Okay. So you feel free to DM me. If you're hearing this conversation, you're like, Mario, that sounds great, but I really could use some deeper advice on maybe how would I create that? Or I'll even take a look at your presentation. I've done that before. I've taken a look at people's presentations like, you should move that slide to the front and get in blah, blah, blah. So however I can help your audience, Chase, I'm down to do. So DM me on Instagram at Mario Armstrong, or reach me via email, marioarmstrong@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you within 48 hours.
East New York ENT says, Mario, you've got a new fan.
I appreciate it, man. And it's not a new fan, man. It's just extending the family reach. I call them cousins. New people that come into the family, you're now a cousin. So don't be surprised if I say, hey, I'm in your neck of the woods. Let's go grab a bite to eat and sit at the table. It's
so
grateful.
Amazing. So grateful for your time, man. And again, if the people want to pay attention to you, you just gave your Instagram handle at Mario Armstrong on IG. Steer them maybe to your new show or what?
Thank you for that. The YouTube channel would be great. So go to youtube.com/Never Settle Show, or just do a search for Never Settle Show on YouTube. Start watching the episodes. They're right there. They're only 19, 20 minutes. Great little power-packed episodes. And then we have a ton of other behind-the-scenes and Q&A content. So there should be some things there that can help you. Our podcast is called Wake Up and Level Up. You can go to wakeupandlevelup.com if you want to grab that. But really, I want to get more people to go to that YouTube channel, because that's where we're investing a lot of time and energy, and as well as Instagram. But reach out to me. We have worksheets that are free on our website. If you go to neversettle.tv, you'll see that there are tons of worksheets. So if you're trying to figure out your passion and you need that help getting that clarity, we have a worksheet that will just give us your email address and then we can send it to you. But we got worksheets and other homework that we have up on our site that's ready to help you If you want to build your S curve, and we explain what an S curve is and how you can use that to help you maneuver in your life and what you may need to acquire to get to a higher level of your S curve. So there's a lot of stuff that's on there. The fear ladder is on there as well. So neversettle.tv and the YouTube channel, Never Settle Show.
Awesome. Well, I'll give a shout out to our man Damon and Damon John from Shark Tank for introducing us. Thanks to Jamel, Dr. Vibe, Gwen, Lauren, Tim, Eduardo. We got a big shout out from the Creative Live Worldwide Creator Community. I want to say thanks again for being on the show, my man. Good luck with your show. Speaking of shows, I'm a fan, and I appreciate you coming on today and sharing your wisdom and knowledge. We got work to do,
brother, and you're doing it. And that's the thing, man. Like, you know, Gary talked about it a lot, right? Like, just document, right? Like, document by creating, document by doing. It's not talking about what you're going to do. It's actually doing what you're going to do. So thank you, man, for allowing me to come on to your platform and really respect your audience and feel the love and the warmth from your audience. And thank you for what you're doing to bring other voices that haven't had an opportunity to meet you. We have not yet met in person. I can't wait for that moment.
It's happening.
I'm gonna look for ways to force that to happen. Believe you me, buddy. I'm finding ways in my mind to force that to happen. And I can't wait to meet the wife too, because it sounds like I'm gonna start following her online and learning from her. But man, your actions have always matched your ambitions, man. So thank you for being you and showing us a light and a way that we can go about having integrity and pursuing our dreams while also having morals about that approach. So, yeah, man, this has been fantastic. This has been I'm right now, dude, like, I'm so pumped for this, man. It's like one of the best. Like, you can tell I don't want to go, right? But I know we got to cut it off at some point, man.
Listen, I was going to apologize for going a little bit long, but no, it makes me feel better that you're good. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no, man, no apologies necessary. We're in the present. This is the energy. Hopefully we helped a lot of people. And for those people that need more help, reach out to Chase and myself, man. That's what we're here about. That's what we're doing. So thanks again, my brother. And I look for ways that I can bring you into my audience and bring you into my world and figure out how we can find some fun stuff to do together.
We'll do it. And I want to see your sneaker, your kick collection and that lunchbox. And I'm looking forward to our next hang. Thank you, Vanessa and Julie and Timmy122. Just appreciate the worldwide community's giving you a shout out. And if you're just tuning in a little bit late and coming into the end of our live stream here, yes, you can listen to this. Watch it on my YouTube channel, catch it on Creative Live, or on my podcast, the Chase Jarvis Live Show, where we will do an audio-only version shortly. All the platforms. My man, thanks again so much. We know where to pay attention to you, and you got a bunch of new fans and followers. Our next hang.
And really appreciate it. Everybody keep pursuing their dreams. Let's make it happen. However I can help, I'm here for you. Let's go, Chase. Let's go, Chase. Let's go.